In our Monday Chat today, we'll discuss a quite interesting topic that is becoming, I would say, a common trend. More and more corporates are looking at innovation, not for innovating their core business, but for diversificating, for going beyond the core business. And today we have a very special guest. It's Giacomo Lovati. Giacomo is the Chief Beyond Insurance at UnipolSai. UnipolSai is one of the largest insurance Italian groups. Welcome, Giacomo.
Welcome, Alberto. Thank you for this opportunity.
So, Giacomo, let's start. Before introducing who is UnipolSai, just a bit discussing about your title that I find quite intriguing. Chief Beyond Insurance. What's beyond that?
We have decided in the last months to make a further step to evolve also in terms of organization to pursue the strategy that we have launched some years ago. So what's beyond insurance for us? We are one of the biggest company probably in Europe if we talk about P&C. In Italy we have more than 14 million customers, 10 million of which are car customer, and 4.2 million of those 10 million customers have a black box installed by our company. So we started many years ago to think how we could, let's say, flank our core business strategy, that is selling policies, especially P&C and especially car policies, with a set of services and to create the so-called ecosystem that is a very discussed buzzword in this moment because everyone is talking about ecosystem. But we started this strategy many years ago, and what in time we develop has pushed us also to create an organization to follow these activities. In fact, now UnipolSai is organized in two big directions. One is the core insurance directions, and the other one is what we call beyond insurance, to develop all the set of services that can be attached to an insurance product, but can be also be sold as standalone products. And so this is the story of the last years.
Just among the different figures that you provided, one I think is quite striking because probably it's one of the highest, not just in Europe but at world level, is the number of black box that you have currently installed. We're talking about 10 million black boxes, if I'm not wrong, right?
4.2 out of 10 million. So we have a 44 percentage of penetration in our car policies. So we have 4.2 millions black box working, installed, and monitoring the driving behaviors and the driving style of our customer. We launched this idea 15 years ago. I was freshly entered in the Unipol Group, and I remember the first year we have 10,000 black boxes as a budget, and we closed with 90,000. Now we are selling 90,000 per month. So we have developed a huge portfolio of insurance with a black box, and we are the biggest player in the world. To be honest, maybe we can be compared to General Motors in the US, but they have a different kind of device installed. But we really created the concept of telematic insurance.
And that opens up and triggers a lot of potential new services and a lot of potential new ways of better servicing the existing customer. And that probably is what you are building around the concept of mobility ecosystem, mobility as a service. Can you give us some?
So for us, ecosystems are three different ideas: mobility, health and welfare, and property. Of course, mobility for us is the more mature ecosystem, and we launched it 15 years ago with the black box, so a device to monitor our customer. Then we set up a company to purchase and deliver the spare parts to manage our claims. Then we set up a company more or less with the same business for windshields. Then we set up a company for the assistance. Then we set up a company for managing our black boxes, because we started in a full outsourcing system. And then at a certain moment, we decided to insource, because we had a very huge and important asset to insource. And so the last two steps have been entering in the real car maker market, because we purchased 2 years ago a company that sells cars in the end with the format of the long-term rental. And then last year we purchased an internet company that is a platform for used car transaction, customer to customer.
Cambio Marcia.
Cambio Marcia, yes. Cambio Marcia is the company we closed the deal in December, and so 3 months ago, and we have started yesterday to sell the first car on the market. And this for us was considered, as we called in our company, a sort of honeycomb model. So if you think about the hexagons of a honeycomb, we started with the first hexagon was a car policy, and then we started complementing with other hexagons to create, let's say, an honeycomb, as we call it. Starting from our core business, but adding all other aspects that can be connected. So we are extended, but of course, in segments that are near to our core business, because in that space, in that economic space, we have the trust of our customers. We have a network of agents that is credible for selling those kind of products. So we are extending the honeycomb from the first real core business product.
And that is quite interesting, because again, we can go back to the old-fashioned diversification theories from the last century, but still, one of the biggest issues in companies that are diversifying their business, expanding from the core, is at a certain point they might lose the contact with the original asset that they have. Again, you're building everything around the largest asset, that is the trust of your customers. But at a certain point, enabling new services that use and leverage tons of data and use and leverage new technology at a certain point are also changing Unipol from inside, moving more and more, becoming a technology platform, technology company, and that requires also new skills, new capabilities. How you are managing such a transition?
It's not easy at all, because we are the most vintage market is the insurance market in Italy, because we have seen a lot of changes in other sectors, but the insurance sector is the slowest one.
It's quite resilient, yes.
Yes, it is. But we have decided for a strategy to preserve and to support competencies and, let's say, startup mindset, creating or merging or purchasing, acquiring companies that are still separate companies inside our group. And so we have a lot of different companies that are managing their business, that are not insurance business, and they have to be very good at that business. So, for example, in Alpha Evolution Technology, that is our company that manages the black box and the big data and whatever, we don't hire, of course, in insurance sector. We hire data scientists, we hire people coming from the car maker sectors, because that specific skill has to preserve, and the objectives too. So the complex deal is to manage all these part of a large group. And so we have decided also in that sense to create a big business unit that has the responsibility for all those single companies inside the group. So all the companies are, I am the boss of all these companies, and that it's easier for us to manage the synergies, because we have different companies, but one entity that has to put together to create business models, synergies, and exploitation of all the assets. Let's make an example. As you know, not only in Italy, but in all Europe, the electric car market, it's growing. It's a great expectation that we have. So what is for us creating an ecosystem is having 10 million customers that have been in time very loyal to our company, acquiring and purchasing car policies. But in the time with the black box, we have been collecting for many years a lot of information. So, for example, now I know exactly, out of these customers that have a black box installed, exactly so it means the name of Alberto Onetti, in the last 2 years has never made a trip farther than 300 kilometers. That is a simple information, but it's very powerful, because I know that Alberto Onetti is the perfect customer for electric mobility. On the addition, I know exactly if Alberto Onetti has a particular space as a box or whatever to store his car, because I see every single day that in the evening when Alberto comes back from the office, stops in the same point. So that's the perfect customer for a bundle offer, and that it's what we are doing. I come to your house, I install a wall box, so an electric charger. I give you the car with a monthly rate that is the basis of the long-term rental. And if you want, I can sell your current car, and I will be selling with our platform the car at the end of the lifetime. So information for us is, it's of course, when today you talk about big data science as the solution of all problems. But if you don't have a very solid model, data are important, but not making the difference. So we can merge physical assets with data to create a structured offer to our customer. This is only an example.
No, I think it's quite a powerful example of what we've been doing the past few years, that actually you have some assets, your traditional assets, some new assets that you have deployed down the way. And at a certain point, you started going out, scouting in this global startup ecosystem for potentially solution providers that may give you also use cases to be deployed, might give you also inspiration to identify what could be done. Because again, you said it properly, that data are powerful, but sometimes we have so many data, in particular, you have so many data that are really difficult to be exploited, utilized, and monetized. Sometimes you probably have more data than probably the ability to work with them, and sometimes to identify in the startup ecosystem potential use cases and to also potential experimentation with them. That's some work that has been done in the past few years, and maybe you can name a couple of examples. I think it's powerful also to help you to understand what could be done, how it could be done. You have some example here that we can use?
I have two big examples. One is, again, for example, Cambio March. I think that we see a lot of startups, and we are constantly scouting for startups. Not in my case as a manager to invest with a financial return, but to invest with startups that can be functional to our business. So for me, it's not, we have a financial department that invests for having a return. My department works for investing in companies that can be functional to our business. And we think that we in Unipol, we think that the good model that we can perform in this moment is to find the right balance between the startup that is smart, that is fast, that has ideas, but we have customer. And so I think that mixing and giving to a startup that is in your ecosystem, to feed these startups with our customer base is the real good deal that you can do. And this, for us, it's a model that we want to follow for a long time. Another example on the other ecosystem is, again, mixing old economy with new economy. What I mean, we in the health and welfare ecosystem, of course, we are working to develop a digital health platform. We see a lot of examples, Babylon, Savia, or whatever. But also to create purchasing companies in Italy, a physical network of medical stores, let's say, to create again a good balance between your customer, but because we have more than 8 million customers with health products insured with Unipol, to channel them in our structure, to manage them with a digital platform. And for example, in our digital platforms, what we have and what we will further develop, we will have a symptom checker, and we have managed a partnership with the Informatica, that is a startup that has developed a symptom checker.
The Polish company, yes.
Yes, the Polish company. We will put this symptom checker together with the video consultant, with the doctor that in remote can help our customer. We have a platform that can provide to book medical exam in a physical network. We have a digital storage in which you put all the data of the customer. Nothing of really disruptive in my mind, but putting together old economy, new economy, exploiting the asset of the customer and the physical network, both in terms of salesmen and also of partners. Unisalute, that is our health company, has more than 50,000 partners in Italy, in which they channel the customer for the blood exams or other kind of exams. So for us, putting together all those aspects is it's a winning issue.
And again, yes, you did it in different ways, and sometimes it's a revolutionary process, and sometimes is the ability of leveraging your networks and your ability, your vision through bringing innovation to your customer. That's, again, is easy to be said and it's difficult to be done. Yeah. And I think today in this transition toward novel services, sometimes again, I remember from a conversation from Andreessen and Horowitz, and talking about, for example, InsurTech. And I remember they said it's a sort of a race against time. At the end, the winner will be the fastest. And the question that they posed was, will be the InsurTech startups that we are able to go fast to taking the market, or will be the insurance company that will be faster to take innovation? And again, in this race between these two novel forces, I think a possible combination is joining forces with some of these startups, putting your networks at service of them, and to be able to exploit their services. Obviously, it requires vision, because it's not easily such an integration. What are the main barriers that you see every day in this kind of integration?
Of course, cultural barriers are the first, but in both partners. Again, you were correctly synthesizing our idea. Not a fintech, not an insurance company, but a good mix between a traditional insurance company and an insurtech can be the play. How we put together these actors, it's not easy, because from one side you have to maintain the agility, the smartness of a startup, the capability of thinking out of the box. On the other side, you have to exploit the assets that you have, so customers, so other physical networks if needed, and this is really difficult, because if you put a startup inside a big traditional company, it will lose every aspect that has been positive for the startup itself. On the other side, an insurtech, in our opinion, without the feeding of customers, of money, cannot have the same success. So this is the difficult aspect, to put together completely different animals without killing none of them. That's the real challenge.
Culture is definitely a big issue, and unfortunately, one thing that we have learned working with multiple large corporations is not something that can be changed overnight. So it's something that we need to be addressed one step at a time, and try to, as much as possible, to gain consensus inside the company. I think that one part that I think quite fascinating, looking at what you guys have done, is your ability to start let's say, turning the vision into reality again. We have seen a lot of progress looking, for example, the mobility ecosystem, when probably you have moved your vision more into execution. And again, you started from the car rental piece, and then now you realize that renting cars with an insurance, there was the used car component to be solved, and then at the end you added also the used car brokerage system to your offering, and now you are more and more deploying a solution that goes beyond the car at a certain point and goes into the concept of mobility, end-to-end platform of mobility. What's your vision there?
I think that we had developed an approach that was really stressed and focused on implementation, because again, everyone is talking about mobility now, and you can attack the mobility issue from different points. We have decided to attack it to the hard part of it, so the car and the insurance, because we think that it's the most rich part. You have the higher margin, so it's the entry point for us is that. But we are developing all other aspects of mobility, of course, through partnership. We always have a open-minded approach. When we want to enter in a business, we try to understand if it's better to develop from the scratch, so an internal startup, as we have done, for example, with Alpha Evolution technology. We try to understand if purchasing an accelerator is the best choice. Cambio Marcia is the example for the car broker, or Unipol rental for the. Or we try to understand if you can make a joint venture with partners that are operating that sector, or only commercial agreement. And so if we talk about mobility, we have every aspect of that, because we have a captive insurance company, we have a captive long-term rental company, we have developed commercial partnership, for example, with sharing operators, because we don't think at the moment that it's a marginal market for us. We don't want at the moment to develop a pure player in sharing mobility, but we have, of course, connected with agreements. So we are offering a 360 degrees mobility product with different aspects that are internally produced or created with partnership. And we think if you want to talk about ecosystem, you need to have partner. You will never be able to cover all the aspects. And sometimes you don't want to cover all the issues of the ecosystem. So partnership, it's fundamental. And this implies investments in technology, because if you want to be a partner in the ecosystem, you have to plug in very fast with other players. So it's not only a vision or a model, it's a very important technological aspect.
And looking forward, talking again about mobility, how much has COVID impacted your vision, or how much has COVID accelerated your vision? How was your vision before COVID, and how much has been impacted? What direction are you taking because of that? Again, COVID has changed, for example, I don't know if it's temporarily or permanently, for example, the approach for the use of public transportation, or maybe is reshaping from cars to public transportation, personal car sharing economy. How do you see that? Because it's quite an emerging trend.
I don't want to look as cynical, but COVID for a group as Unipol in terms of mobility gives opportunity more than constraints. Because of course, we are looking at, if you look at figures at the moment, you have seen a huge decrease of public mobility, going back again to individual mobility, and this for us means people that are driving car or motorbike or motorcycles owned, not shared. And so for us, it's from an economical point of view, is an advantage. there is a trend that is day by day is increasing, that is shifting from ownership of a car to usage of a car, and this is without any doubt helping us in terms of the long-term rental, for example. We see a couple of years very difficult for the sharing mobility operator, because it's difficult. I talk about Italy because I know my country. If you go in the big cities as Milan, Rome, Torino, people that were using car sharing are not so happy to do that, because they don't know 10 minutes before who was driving that car. And also from a technological and economical point of view, real-time sanification of the vehicles, it's quite difficult. But in the medium term, we see a very strengthening of the sharing model, because in Italy we like car, and many families maybe have 3 cars. But in the next couple of years, the 3rd car will be sold, because from economical point of view, it's not saturated and it's not more a deal for them. So families that were using very seldom a car will sell it and use car sharing mobility or other kind of mobility in that specific. And last but not least, the car market, the used car market, it's booming, of course, in Italy. Unipol Rental is making a lot of money when they sell car, because the quotation have grown a lot, because people have more money and they are more willing to buy a used car now than a new car. So for us, the shifting from owning towards using, and on the other side, the increasing of the sale of the used car market gives a positive combination. And last but not least, I manage also the company with the black box, and every morning at 9 o'clock, I see exactly how many kilometers have done the Italians in the day before. And in the darkest moment of the lockdown, we saw a decrease of kilometers of 93%.
Wow.
And more or less of 90% of the claims too. For us, was a very, from an economical and not a moral point of view, was a good year, because we had a lot of, and in fact, we gave back 1 month of insurance to our customer because of that. So the outlook for mobility for us, it's been helped, and again, also with the integration of the payments model that are very that are mandatory for the mobility ecosystem. You need to move, but also to pay with the same smartness. And also the COVID has given a lot of pressure with the electronic and digital payments model. So the combination of those aspects, if we talk about mobility for us, will push a lot, and will foster an evolution that it was in place, but now it's very, very has acquired a lot of speed.
Got it. So substantially, just to trying to wrap it up, what you're up to again, you started with the car insurance, you moved to providing the car with the insurance in multiple way, maybe rented. Now, obviously, you offer the opportunity to trade the used car with a new one or with a rented one. And now you are integrating different modes of mobility, also going beyond your own solution, also integrating third-party solution. The payments, that is the last part that you mentioned, is quite interesting, because again, integrating the payment component might enable, or in a sort of way might trigger some services without that probably cannot. And so I think what are the next steps, if possible to know, towards payments?
We have created a company. In this case, we made an internal startup. Again, because we divided the approach as we always do, in a very practical way. For us, owning a payment company, even only if you apply this efficiency to our closed perimeter, makes a lot of money, because every year we pay claims, we pay billions of euro of claims. We got billions of premiums from our customer. We purchased a lot, we sell a lot. So we move a lot of money. And even if we talk also only of the internal environment, this efficiency for us pays the investment. But our objective is to have this payment solution to be the backbone of all our systems and ecosystems, because of course we move money, and providing to our customer the smartest way to pay something can help the development of all the ecosystem of that we have, mobility, property, and welfare. So for us, it's really a support, but a mandatory ingredient of the formula.
Let's shift the focus from mobility to the other two main ecosystems that you are targeting. Welfare is one of them.
Yes.
You already mentioned. What are the next steps to be expected by Unipol in the welfare system? You mentioned that you are going towards trying as much as possible to mixing the digital and the physical experience together, melting them together. How does it work?
Again, we started from the captive market. What I mean as a captive market. Let's go back a little bit to the mobility and then again to the welfare.
Yes.
Why we created a company that repairs or substitute the windshield? Because with 10 million customers, every year, we have 150,000 windshield claims. So we have the demand and the offer at the same time, because we can match our claims to someone that operates on these claims. So creating an internal company matches the demand and the offer. On the side of welfare and health, we have an internal company that is called Unisalute, that provides medical policies to customer, corporate, mainly corporate. 8 million customers that every year have to make blood exams, have to make visits, have to make prescription. And so again, if we own our network and we have 8 million customers to channel, it's quite easy for us. We create products that are easy to channel, because in some cases, if you go to our structure, you don't pay €1. If you can choose, if you go outside, you have a sort of different way to manage the payment, for example. So again, we channel those customers. So putting together customers and demand and offer, it's one of our strategies. So we will close, I hope, in the next weeks, an important deal for entering in one of the biggest network in Italy of physical medical stores. And so again, what we want to put in place in 2021 is a system that mixes digital, physical, customers, agents. So it's a part of new economy, a part of old economy, but I don't care. I care about margins. That's my my first objective. Putting together all those assets, you can create models that have a part of innovation. But again, innovation itself is not the only way to solve the problem. You can, it's the right mix between innovation and exploiting as much as possible your assets. I have to make another example. Every time you go in a conference and managers from other companies, you talk about big data, and we talk, I would like to have those kind of data. I would like to spider the Facebook or other social to understand better. But in the end, we have a lot of information in-house from 20 years, since 20 years. Let's try to exploit them better before thinking of sending rockets to the moon. Again, with a very practical approach. And we started from that. For us, the data of the black box, it's not, again, rocket science. It's exploiting better, simple data, that are the mobility data, to create offer and business models that put together a good customer experience, but a very solid offer. That's for me the really. I used to say that a bad product on a bad services remains a bad product, even if it's sold with the most sexy customer experience, but remains in the end a bad product. The customer experience can enhance a good product, but again, you have to create solid business models. Then what makes the difference? It's the best way to sell them, to make the customer use them, and so again, data and customer experience. But
and this is a journey, because at the end, the data mining is a process that the more data you process, the more use case you can identify. You can test some of them might work, some of them might not work now, might work in the future when you have other components that allow you to exploit, and that's how it works.
We started with mobility with that, because in the end, we have 10 million cars. In Italy, traditional companies have a very high fidelization. So we have a 12% churn rate. That means that every year, out of 100 customers, 88 remains with us. So we have a very detailed information about our customer. And the simplest are, what kind of car do you drive? Do you like? How many times you use it? With what frequency you change it? All this information that are not, again, very incredible information, but if you put it together, you can really segmentate and have a conversion that is much higher than going to the first customer. So we have reached in the last 2 months with the car rental a 7.9 conversion rate. That is incredible for selling a car. So we make 100 offer and we sell 8 cars. In my experience, it's a huge number. But why? Because we are proposing the car, for example, to a person that thieves have robbed their car. So he has no car. I know exactly in that moment it's the right moment to make an offer. They make 10,000 euro claim. Probably the car they were using it's dead. So it's the right moment. Very simple, but very effective in the end. So we start from that very practical approach.
It looks like this work, and I believe that similar approach is the one that you are planning to implement also in the third let's say, ecosystem that you are targeting beyond insurer, that is home and property. What's your vision there?
This is the most difficult of the 3 ecosystems, because if you talk about technology, that is a very important ability, an answer of the developing of the ecosystem. In mobility, an insurance company can be the actor that has the trust to give you something, also in terms of technology. In the property market, I don't expect that IoT in the Italian South will be developed by an insurance company, will be developed by Amazon, will be developed by Samsung or Google or whatever, not from an insurer. So in this case, our approach will be more service providing, making partnership with these big players that can be the vehicle to extend the IoT. Again, maybe mainly in the property ecosystem, the old economy can help us again. What we are doing again, we have a lot of customers. We have 2 million customers with home insurance with Unipol. And what we are doing for them? First of all, we have set up another company to provide real-time intervention in the houses. So as we do with the car, that we purchase spare parts, we use a car shop or whatever, we will do the same also in the car market. I know that you have a claim, because you have opened a claim, and I can provide you assistance in real time, sending the specific expert to solve your problem. So again, not giving money 1 month after the claims, but solving the problem in the right time.
Sending the plumber. That is
sending a plumber. That is the the very, very old economy. But we are adding some pieces. In Italy, most of the home, especially the big home in which you have more than one flat, are managed by, let's say, facility manager. So we have a lot of those person working, and they are the door to open to get access to the house of our customer. So what we are setting up a company to manage a network of facility manager. So it will be the entry point, because if your customer, if you manage the house of your customer, you can put on it the insurance, you can put on it the services of the plumber, and you will end it with again a digital platform for selling houses. Because we have a lot of synergy with Cambio Marcia, that is a digital platform to sell car, and we are, let's say, making a clone of this company to do the same in the real estate market. That it's a very interesting in terms of developing. So again, 3-4 initiatives, but that can create a cocoon around our customer.
Yes, this
in this case, more old economy than new economy. But again, as we are Latins, and Latin says "pecunia non olet," money doesn't smell. So.
Yes, and at the end, the fact that you can also leverage the experience that you are getting on the mobility side to be used in other ecosystem is something that you can definitely help you to fast track and get combining and melting digital and physical experiences, old-fashioned service with novel services. Sometimes the customer interface. I think the app UnipolSai is getting more and more traction and will become probably also the conveyor of some of these services, the new digital door to access the UnipolSai offering, and that's the trend.
Yeah. It's a digital model, but that are leveraging on our specific skills. We are good in managing networks because we are managing 3,000 car shop. We are managing 15,000 agents. We are managing 50,000 structure with Unisalute. So we are good in managing network. If we create a very good digital model to exploit that, and again, managing a car shop or a spare part seller or a plumber, it's not very different. So we are good in managing those processes. We have technology that can be reused, and that's another important issue. And so again, we are not sending rockets to the moon, but we are, let's say, improving what we have built in the last years.
If I can wrap it up, substantially your traditional mirrors being typically people call you when you have a problem. Now beyond picking up the phone, you're also providing them with a solution. Then that is what you're currently doing.
And again, everything that we are developing, it's used with our customer, but is at the same time sold at the free market. For example, the platform for sending the plumber will be a no-cost platform for our customer because he has an insurance, or can be exploited, but from a prospect that only needs a plumber and it's not insured. Again, you make money out of that, and you get an interesting prospect for the insurance business.
Perfect, Giacomo. Thank you for this conversation. Just to conclude it, what will be your recommendation for people trying to, again, going beyond the core business innovation? What are the top recommendations you can make to your fellow innovation managers?
Making investments in organization, because those initiatives that goes beyond the core business cannot at all be developed inside the business structure. So you need to have a different structure that are approaching problems in a different way, that can attract talents and skills that are not proper of your core business, and if possible to have specific entities on our business unit that has the levers and the responsibility to develop this project. Because if they are made with the left hand in some other divisions, we'll never have the focus that you need in the beginning to launch and to develop these initiatives. That's my main recommendation.
And actually, looking what you've done in the past few years, exactly what you've done and delivered, and looking at the results has proven that seems working pretty well. So congratulations for all the good work that you're up to, and looking forward to touching base with you again in a couple of months to see the progress with your new initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. See you soon.